A legal storm is brewing in a Virginia federal courtroom, threatening to upend two of the most politically charged prosecutions in recent memory. At the center is not a defendant, but the prosecutor, Lindsay Halligan, a Trump ally and personal attorney. Halligan was tasked with leading the cases against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James. Now, her very authority to bring these cases is under fire. Defense attorneys argue Halligan was never lawfully appointed as acting U.S. attorney. If true, every action she's taken, including the indictments, could be void. U.S. District Judge Cameron McGowan Curry is presiding, and her pointed questions suggest deep skepticism of the Justice Department's position. This is no routine legal dispute. Prosecutors' authority is rarely challenged so directly. The indictments followed intense public pressure from former President Trump after the previous U.S. attorney resigned rather than pursue the cases. Halligan, with no prior prosecutorial experience, was brought in. The context raises concerns about the Justice Department bending to political will. The fate of these high-profile cases now hangs in the balance. Judge Curry is expected to rule before Thanksgiving. If Halligan's appointment is found unlawful, the indictments could be thrown out, a stunning rebuke to DOJ leadership. The outcome will have consequences far beyond these individuals. It's a test of whether our laws apply equally, even to those in power. The nation is watching. The courtroom drama is about more than just legal technicalities. It's about the integrity of the justice system itself. The stakes could not be higher. The next chapter will be written in Judge Curry's ruling. The challenge to Lindsay Halligan's authority is rooted in the U.S. Constitution. Defense attorneys for Comey and James argue Halligan's appointment violated the Appointments Clause. The law allows an interim U.S. attorney for only 120 days after a resignation. After that, the district court, not the attorney general, must appoint a replacement. In this case, the court was never given that chance. Halligan simply stayed in place. Defense lawyers say this makes her appointment unlawful, and every official act she took invalid. The Appointments Clause is a key check on executive power, ensuring accountability and proper vetting. The defense accuses the DOJ of bypassing legal channels to keep a favored prosecutor in power. This isn't just about paperwork, it's about the rule of law and separation of powers. The DOJ downplays the issue as a paperwork error, insisting they had authority to keep Halligan. But Judge Curry's questions focused on the statute's clear time limits. Her skepticism signals she sees more than a clerical mistake. The judge must now decide if the DOJ overstepped its authority. If she rules against the DOJ, it could invalidate the entire prosecution. The case is a test of constitutional limits on executive power. The outcome could reshape how federal prosecutors are appointed. The stakes are high for both the DOJ and the defendants. The courtroom is now the battleground for a fundamental question. Who gets to wield the power of prosecution? The answer will set a precedent for future cases. The legal world is watching closely. Judge Curry's decision could have ripple effects across the justice system. The controversy over Halligan's appointment isn't the only problem. A significant portion of the grand jury record in the Comey case is missing. The transcript stops at 4:28 p.m. on indictment day, but the indictment was filed later. What happened in that missing time is unknown. Grand jury proceedings are secret, but they must be fully recorded. The absence of a record raises serious questions about the integrity of the process. During the missing period, only Halligan and the grand jurors were present. No court reporter. This makes it impossible to know what was said or done. Attorney General Pam Bondi claimed to have reviewed the proceedings, but how can she review what wasn't recorded? Judge Curry directly questioned this contradiction. The missing record undermines the DOJ's credibility and the defense's ability to check for misconduct. Without a transcript, there's no way to know if the law or evidence was misstated. The grand jury is supposed to protect citizens from baseless prosecution, not operate in the dark. This gap, combined with questions about Halligan's authority, paints a troubling picture. The integrity of the prosecution is now in doubt. The judge's concern is justified. The missing record is a fundamental failure of due process. The case may hinge as much on what's missing as on what's present. The DOJ tried to fix Halligan's appointment retroactively, issuing a special order weeks after the indictments. They called it a paperwork error, but defense lawyers and the judge aren't buying it. Critics argue you can't make an unlawful act lawful after the fact. At the time of the indictments, Halligan lacked legal authority. A later order can't change that. It's like getting a driver's license after a crash. It doesn't make the past legal. The retroactive order suggests the DOJ knew her position was questionable. Legal experts call this a desperate gambit, showing a consciousness of guilt. Instead of admitting error, the DOJ tried to paper over a constitutional problem. Judge Curry focused on Halligan's authority at the moment of indictment, not weeks later. Allowing retroactive fixes would set a dangerous precedent. The DOJ's explanation looks increasingly thin. The attempt to cover tracks has only deepened the controversy. The court is unlikely to accept this as a simple mistake. If Judge Curry rules Halligan's appointment unlawful, the indictments against Comey and James will likely be dismissed. An indictment by someone without authority is a legal nullity. This would be a major failure for the DOJ, erasing months of work. The DOJ wants any dismissal to be without prejudice, allowing them to try again with a properly appointed prosecutor. For Comey, the government could seek a new indictment within 6 months. For James, the statute of limitations is much longer, so charges could be refiled. A dismissal would be a temporary victory for the defense, but the damage to DOJ credibility would be lasting. The process would have to start over, costing time and public trust. Even if cases are refiled, the cloud of illegitimacy will linger. The Halligan controversy could taint any future proceedings. This is the domino effect of a single error. The stakes go beyond these two cases. The entire prosecutorial effort could unravel. This case is about more than 2 prosecutions. It's about the health of the justice system. The law must be applied fairly and impartially, or public trust collapses. The sequence of events, Trump's public demands, a U.S. attorney's resignation, Halligan's appointment and swift indictments, raises questions about political motives. It looks less like justice, more like retribution. The DOJ's reputation for independence is now in tatters. Reports say experienced prosecutors are leaving in droves, taking their integrity with them. When trust erodes, people are less likely to cooperate with law enforcement or respect court rulings. This is how the rule of law breaks down. The Halligan case is a critical test for the DOJ. How it's handled will send a powerful message. Will the system correct itself or confirm the public's worst fears? The answer will shape the future of American justice. The stakes are institutional, not just individual. The world is watching to see if justice remains blind. As Judge Curry's decision looms, the DOJ stands at a crossroads. The Halligan controversy is a symptom of deeper problems, political loyalty over legal expertise. The department's credibility is on the line. If Halligan is disqualified, will the DOJ accept the rebuke and rebuild, or double down and appeal? The choice will signal whether justice or politics prevails. Rebuilding trust will require a return to prosecutorial independence and ethical leadership. The legal profession is watching, as are the American people. The outcome of this case will shape the future of the DOJ. We must hope it leads to a renewed commitment to equal justice under law. Our democracy may depend on it.